Welcome to a Message Lightworkers podcast, a podcast where we join together as healers and lightworkers to share stories to help and inspire those that are coming to an awakening within their own journey and consciousness. Today we have Sara. She is a spiritual coach and she uses relaxation, hypnosis, and meditation techniques to help you allow the body to create profound healing shifts in every session. Sara's style of yoga is suitable for medical, psychological conditions, which include anxiety, depression, symptoms of PTSD, immune disorders, and neuromuscular diseases. Sara Alavi provides powerful and effective services to heal those who come to her. And she holds titles, designations, and educational backgrounds in yoga. She's a 500-hour Yoga Alliance registered yoga instructor. She's part of the Yoga Alliance Continuing Education. She's a Yoga Alliance Continuing Education provider, a Reiki master. She holds a bachelor's in science and business from Oklahoma City University. She's a certified advanced IM yoga nidra meditation practitioner, a yoga home school of therapeutics director, a certified hypnosis, a certified yoga therapist, a certified yoga teacher, a doTERRA essential oil company wellness advocate, and a member of the International Yoga Therapist Association. Sara, welcome to the show, and I'm so glad that you're here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us, Sara, tell us a little bit more about what got you into yoga and that moment that kind of just lit you up so much for you to decide, I'm going to follow this path and make this part of my soul's mission and my life's work.
Yeah, that's such a loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
We all have that moment, don't we? Well, my story goes back to 1997. I actually woke up one morning and dropped off the kids at school. By the time I got home, I had gone blind in my left eye. And it was just gradual on the drive back and forth, and I thought I had put my contact lenses in the wrong eye, and but it was actually 100% officially blinded. And that took that was a wake-up call for me. At the time I was going, everything was fine at the surface. You see, life was good, parents were still alive, and two children, a home, and a husband. Every business is going well, but it was not. It wasn't that something was on the outside was wrong, but it was inside of me that wasn't able to manage life really. So that's when I started actually meditation. A friend or two of mine handed me some cassette tapes at the time, so I would sit and meditate in the back of the closet, and so I credit that meditation practice to my healing, and miraculously my eyesight came back. I think it took about 4.5 5 months. Little by little, within a week, the whole sight came back perfectly, and I thought it was pretty cool and miraculous. And so at that time, I knew that I couldn't go back to the way it was. And fast forward, I continued my meditation practice, but it was within a year or two that I was introduced to a yoga teacher training program. And I showed up for the introduction, and I knew that was the path I was going to follow for the rest of my life. And here I am 20 something years later.
That is a miracle. Well, I would consider a miracle.
Yeah.
What was it about meditation? What do you think that happened during that closet meditation time for you?
Just to be able to quiet the mind and allow the body to heal itself. I think it's like a gesture of a person who's really deeply in a meditative state of being, is when the body feels safe enough to adjust, repair, rewire itself, and all of our energy bodies um, click together and become harmonized, and they integrate at the third eye. And so the third eye is the pineal gland. Yogis have always called it the third eye because that is the magnetic energy in the energy body that actually um, manifests and creates what we pray and what we affirm and what we intend. And so that's what happened. I know now that I understand the yoga and the energy body, I realized that that's exactly what was happening.
And what type of meditations were you practicing? Were you just kind of breathing and counting, or were you doing some type of transcendental meditation? Was there something specific that you kind of felt you were called to do?
Well, I was following a man's voice, and it was about running the energy. And it was about a ball of light at the crown of the head, which is the seventh chakra, which is the meditation or the spiritual connection center. And so it was about guiding and concentrating on visualization, this white light that flows in through the head, back of the eyes, and you hold it there for a moment. That's the pineal gland. That's the third eye, right? I didn't know. And then you run it down with a in a very kind of a instructional way, in the guidelines. Yeah, it has like a step by step kind of a guidance of bringing the energy to the feet. And when you do that, you kind of get a like an energy bath, like a cleansing energetically through the body. That's the one I was following. I didn't know what meditation was. I didn't know anything about any of the, you know, the secrets and the invisible world and all this energy stuff. I just knew that it felt amazing. That I took a big break from the kids and they're yelling and bickering and fighting and the rest of the world. And so that's the kind of meditation I was following at the time. But now I've been trained in several different kinds of meditation. So
That sparks actually two questions. I'm kind of curious about were there signs that were given to you prior to you losing your eyesight? And then the second question being, do you find strength in different types of meditation, or do you think meditation just has a common goal of just kind of studying the energy field within the body?
very good. I'm sure I had signs. I'm sure I had signs. I was a very, had you met me then, I was one of those really bubbly, hyperactive, anxiety women that's just like, on the go, fight and flight, no stopping, do. And I'm still a doer, but I'm sure I had signs because I wasn't exactly happy within myself. I never felt good enough. In fact, that was one of the reasons what really made me change my inner belief system and empower myself through meditation and yoga. And so I'm sure I had signs, but who would listen? Who even knew to listen? What to look for? It was just like, oh my God, I went blind. Oh my God, what happened? But I was a positive girl. So I was like, okay, fine. I still have my other eye. I can do my eyeliner. No problem. It's not the end of the world. It's all about glamorous makeup then too. And so I forgot your second question, but I think the signs were there, but I didn't know how to listen.
Mhm.
And if I even really saw them out in the daylight, I would be like, I wonder what that means. And I'll just like go about my business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
My second question was, you talked about how now you have practiced in so many different types of meditation
oh, yes,
techniques.
yes, I remember.
Um, Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, Bri, meditation is, there's just as many meditation techniques, or maybe more, than there's people on the planet. There's just so many different kinds of meditation. It's what you need in that moment. So I hear Einstein used to meditate regularly. He would do lying down meditation, walking meditation, eating meditation, sitting meditation, breath meditation, transcendence meditation. So it depends on what you're dealing with at the time, what the body needs, where you're at. I always vary my own meditation. I never do the same. So it's just to give you an example, I have a client that is suffering from neurological issues, and more like a rare case of Parkinson's disease. And the meditation I practice with him when I meet with him one on one is about seeing fireworks happening in the brain, all the neurons jumping up and down with joy, light illuminating that part of the deeper part of the brain, like that. And when I do hypnotherapy, same thing. Imagine bridges between right and left hemispheres. And these are all meditations. So your mind focuses and magic happens inside. So, yeah, there's so many different kinds.
That's awesome. That sounds really exciting. And
Yeah, it
you
is.
speak a little bit about hypnotherapy. Could you explain the difference between hypnotherapy and meditation? Because they're kind of similar. They kind of get you into like
They are.
that deep hypnotic kind of state. So could you kind of explain what's the difference and why they have that different title?
Yes, very good. So, hypnotherapy, I think, now that I know what I know, when I'm standing on one side watching meditation, hypnotherapy, Reiki, Nidra, which is a sleep based meditation, when I watch all these different kinds, hypnotherapy is like a take a Tylenol, get rid of the pain. It's like fast, and you intend, like the person is like, oh, I can't quit smoking. Most of my clients, no one comes to me for smoking. Maybe one client I had, but my clients come in for empowerment, for self confidence, for healing, for spiritual reasons. So they show up and they say, I can't quiet my mind. And, I have these bad habits. I procrastinate. So we, do that. Or I don't have any boundaries. Whatever anybody says, I say yes. I'll do what I don't want to do. I can't say no. That's a big one for women, I think. And so it's in like one session, a person can trust the practitioner. It's all about trust and relationships, right? I mean, you wouldn't go just to anybody. You have got to get feel for them. And so in the hypnotherapy, the person relaxes for one, and then they kind of like, so let me give you an example. So here's the subconscious hidden down here, and the conscious mind, which is talkative, right, just protects it, will not let anything go in. So when a person goes into hypnosis, the conscious mind still talks, but it's off to the side, allows the subconscious to open for the suggestions to go in. And the conclusions, the processing, it's magical for the person because the person is so relaxed and so calm that they can imagine, oh yeah, well, I can live my life this way and that way. They can role play in their own minds and so much more. And so it's fast, it's permanent. And then they get the recordings and they listen daily and to reinforce and strengthen. And so I think that's the difference. But meditation, you sit to pretty much concentrate and relax, right? But hypnotherapy is like, I want to be this way. I want to be that way. I want to think this way. I want to behave that way specifically.
Got it. So it's kind of like I get it. So the meditation would be more of to relax the body, to kind of get it into a healing state. Where hypnotherapy, if I'm correct, is more of a you're going in there for a specific reason to alter something, a
Perfect.
rewiring, if you will.
It's managing pain. Like I'm sick and tired of being in pain. Like this, my back pains. My back hurts like chronically. So a person comes in, one session, the pain went away permanently. Like that's
Wow.
magic. And then you go in and you use a visualization, like imagine, every time I change it around, like through visualization, and the body responds because the body doesn't want to hurt. It's all here, right?
Mhm.
So
Awesome. Do you suggest any books that would kind of what would you suggest for book readings?
I suggest this one book to everybody I meet, and it's called The Anatomy of the Spirit. Carolyn Mace, Dr. Carolyn Mace. And I've had that hand in my position, that book in my hand since I started my yoga training. And it's a must read. It's a profound book that it teaches you about your soul, about your energy body, about why you do what you do, about importance of contemplation and sitting down by yourself and answering questions so that you can get over yourself, get over the past and forgive. And I mean, like really learn how to forgive. That book is really all in one. In fact, I have it right here. What an accident. Here it is. When people see it in my hand, then they can really kind of connect to the energy of it. It's profound. And Carolyn is a masterpiece, at the energy language.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. I have fallen in love with her work as well. I actually have read the Soul Contracts book,
the earlier
and
book.
Yeah, and a couple other ones. That's the anatomy, and she does her work is like kind of like a punch you to reality and spirituality, you know?
I love her energy. She's like, we need her. We need her on this planet. It's like, if you don't want to work on your soul, just go in the kitchen and peel potatoes. In her the castle, she says that in her audio. I love
Yeah.
her. I love her. Yes.
Yes.
Good. Yeah.
So Sarah, I have to ask, what is the best investment that you've ever made in within your journey or to self-realization and to kind of bring awareness, that deeper awareness?
Yeah.
What's the best investment they've ever made for yourself and why?
Number one, all the books I bought. It's like my husband thinks you are addicted. This lay off Amazon. I keep ordering books. So one is books and really reading them and putting them into practice. And number two is self care by the means of hiring a professional to help me understand myself, a life coach, a therapist, a hypnotherapist. I have spent just about, I mean, somebody else would have already had a swimming pool in their backyard, but I'm like, can't afford a pool. Well, I wonder why. I'm constantly getting more training. All my money, all the, I breathe it, I live it. It's all about soul searching, spiritual practices, and healing. It's that's what I invest my money on.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. What was what was the event that you kind of told me a little bit about the eye, but was there
Uh-huh.
anything else, any other major event that kind of made a really big impact on your spiritual journey? And what did that kind of moment teach you that you've just kind of carried with
Yeah.
you?
Well, when I was a child, I think I was born a very kind of a psychic weirdo. when I was, when first of all, I did not speak till I was almost 5 years old, not one word, and I would roam around the land that we owned. I mean, we owned a small house, but there was land everywhere. Like you could just walk around. And I'm originally Persian, so I'm from Iran, and I'm an immigrant here since I was 14. So just for the background, people want to know where her accent is. And so I would just roam around and contemplate and take a plant, look at it, and just I was into nature, I think. And so fast forward when I was about 9, our happy family all of a sudden, my brother-in-law passed away. He got killed in a car crash, and the impermanence of life shook me up. I thought, oh, there's got to be more to this life than just taking people for granted and like, like, okay, these are your people, but they could be gone any minute. And that really shook me up. And I, more and more, I became a loner, so to speak. I was a meditator, a loner. I only had like one or two friends. And so I think that really the impermanence of life that shook me up at the time. I think I can say that.
Was there a point that you knew that it was like time to change your path? Again, I know you kind of shared that story about like meditation kind of really, really shaking you up and making kind of that shift within you to kind of change the direction. But could you share any other times where it was just very clear that it was time to change your path and just kind of go full force with that?
Yeah. The question you ask is very, very good. It's an excellent question. And somehow, I think at the soul level, you and I must have had past lives together because you know me so well. Every so often I've made shifts. It's like, oh my God, this is not working. Let's go the other way. One is, and I love your smile, by the way, Bri. Um, so one of the another important thing that happened in my life is that was really caring or cared a lot about vanity, you know, brand names and like looking hot and being skinny, like sick relationship with food and things like that. And then one time I found myself very unhappy. I had all these name brands in my closet and da 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 da. I thought, oh, okay, so this isn't it either. So I'm looking for happiness. So I knew the materialistic world wasn't it. And I knew it was all inside. I remember the night. I just sat down. I thought, okay, where do I go from here? Keep looking. And then I found a teacher at the time. So that's how that works. Every so often, I think we, especially women, that's why we read tarot cards. That's why we read angel cards. That's why we read, and we have, those fortunes or horoscopes and astrology, and this is what we do, right? We do yoga and meditation, and we follow such podcasts because we're looking for our pieces, our soul to reconnect. And so we have to listen to those, those deep knowings, no matter what the age, right? No matter what the age. And I'm not saying, I'm not at all implying that we should uproot where we are, leave people and go. It's not it. Geographically, costing, breaking hearts, and just because this isn't it. No, no, no. It's about inside. It's about inside job. A lot of women have caused themselves a great, great suffering by confusing following that knowing, or getting up and leaving, going someplace, or breaking the family, or breaking up with people, things like that. It's not it. It's about sitting more. It's about contemplating more.
Interesting. I've never actually never heard it in that context before.
Mm.
Um, are you so I'm going to kind of repeat back to you what you said to me so I can make
Okay.
sure I'm understanding correctly.
And I take people for walks all the time too.
Yeah.
So I'll finish it up. I'll tell you.
So are you saying that a lot of times people will kind of do the exterior motion first, expecting for that move or that thing that they do externally to change how they're feeling internally?
Correct.
Okay. So what would you say to someone who has kind of been doing the inner work and now that inner work is kind of causing them to make that decision, or what they think is causing them to make that decision? What's a good way to distinguish between the two? Because that can be difficult for
Mm-hmm.
people when they're in that realm or in that emotional place where
Yes.
they feel like they made that decision out of a place that's rational, out of a place that's logical.
Yes.
But when we're looking at them, it doesn't seem like that, but they
Mm-hmm.
feel that it is. What's a distinguishing factor that you can say is pretty clear to a decision based from inner peace and a decision based on making the decision to change how you're feeling internally?
Based on ego, based on the conscious and the outer and the experience. So here's a couple of cues. One, the deeper knowing is neutral. There's no emotions attached. It's neutral. It's neutral. Number two, you know it, and you can't sleep. You can't. It will not let you rest until you do it. But the other one, it's like comes and goes, and it's emotional. Every time you think about doing that, which you think, oh, that's it, I know. You think about it, you get emotional, you feel it, some part of the body tenses or tightens or pressures or something. But the deeper knowing that is inside, that which is your truth of your soul agenda, like your soul is dictating, like, you just know. It's like I said, it's not emotional at all, and it doesn't change. It won't go away until you act on it, and that's karma yoga. That's what we call, like Gandhi. He couldn't rest till he got in India's independence. What did he do? It was all inside of him, right? So it's like he knew that day when he got thrown off the train by the British. He knew, and so he couldn't stop. He just had to follow what he knew he had to do.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
I hope that helped.
It did. Well, for me, it did. So, whole listeners, comment, share, let us know what you think. Okay. I
Awesome.
have a list of questions here down, and I'm going to continue going down the line here.
Okay.
What is one lie that you lived by in the past that you've overcome, or maybe something that you've come upon in your current stage of life that you're maybe overcoming at the moment?
Very good. Thinking that I wasn't good enough. I lived with that lie for most of my life. Um, and yes, I'm still dealing with it. I mean, watch me talk to my tech guy. oh my God, do I feel stupid? And I keep demeaning myself on one conversation. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just not as smart as you. And I'm like, and I catch myself, of course, and he's like, nope, you don't need to be. He's an enlightened guy too. And I mean, not too, like, I'm not enlightened, but I'm just saying, like, he's very enlightened. He's a very spiritual guy. And he says, you don't have to feel this way. This is not your expertise. It's like, comments like that. So not feeling good enough, I think, goes back to when you were just born. I think it's in your mother's womb, you feel like you're not good enough, I tell you, because our mothers are going through so much. They don't feel good enough. And then you're born, and the environment dictates that I guarantee you're not good enough. You just sit there and be quiet. You're not good enough to talk here or there. And so, we grow up and not being validated, most of us as a child, and neglected emotionally. So you just don't feel like you're good enough. I mean, me. And most women I work with the same way. I mean, I think that's a humanity pandemic. And so once we realize, hey, who said I'm not good enough? I am good enough. And then through the mindfulness and the yoga practices, and yoga, and I don't mean just, sun salutations and yoga flows. Yoga is deep, it's vast, it's ancient, it's the oldest mind body paradigm, I call it, on the planet. And so yoga is deep, it's philosophy, science, art, all of it. And so, when you do that, then you initiating from confidence, you start being the new you that you know you are. And so I didn't feel good enough, and that was a lie. I mean, I had limits for what I could do for myself, and so I'm still working on it. I think it's something that they will never leave us. I think every time you turn around to do some other creative something, then all of a sudden doubt comes, and you don't deserve it, you're not going to do a good job, you're going to humiliate yourself. I mean, that's not exaggeration if I say it's a daily thing, but I act out of confidence. And so that's, I think, the biggest lie I lived with.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
If what would you tell a struggling light worker to remember as they are attempting to follow their path?
Very good. So I think we're all healers on the planet. We're all healers. That's why we're here. Really, I don't think at this time on the planet we would be here if we were not going to benefit the earth at some level. And so I think that we have to be wise, you know, like make sure the next step that you put your foot on, it's firm enough that it's going to hold you. Then the next, and the next, one step at a time. Start small. So the number one step that all healers and all light workers they owe it to themselves, is to heal themselves first. At least 80%. There's always that 20% that we got to continue. It's till we leave this planet, and then we enter our next life. So we have to work on ourselves. We have to be it. We have to walk the talk. We have to care for ourselves. A lot of us are, I don't know, lack of words, empaths and caretakers in blood. Like, oh, like they would do anything for other people. When it comes to ourselves, oh, I can handle it, I'm all right. And then they'll just pass out, and no bedtime ritual, no. So what, the nutrition has to be vegetarian. That's my personal view. I think that we have to be pure hearts, pure minded. We got to be it. And then, because why I say vegetarian is because there's a lot of violence going on the planet against animals. And so we have to be advocates for the planet, for all the creatures, not just humans. And we're not better than animals either, by the way. We just make bigger trouble for the planet. And so I think that first you have to think about yourself. Why is choices for your family, because whatever you choose, it affects your family too. And yeah, I like to go in the cave and meditate for days on end, but who's going to make dinner for my family? Who's going to take care of the kids? My kids are still traumatized because I went to so many retreats and workshops, by the way. I'm not saying I did it perfectly. I'm on the other side now. I'm suggesting that we become moderate people, wise and considerate of, because we set the example. If our families suffer because of our spiritual practices, what we miss the mark, but the universe provides, and there's guidance everywhere. And get rid of the nervous energy, the anxiety of like, oh my God, I hate what I do, I want to do that. It's like, no, we have to be blessing what we're going to leave behind. You got to give it your whole heart and be who you are wherever you are. And then, little by little, you make it.
I
It
love
allows
that.
you.
Yeah.
So
And if you could assign one I am affirmation to everyone on the planet, what would
sufficient.
that be?
I am sufficient. I am good. I'm good enough. I'm sufficient. I'm perfect the way I am with all my imperfections. But if it's one word, sufficient would probably explain it all. Mhm. Yeah.
I love that. I want to thank you for visiting us today and sharing your story.
Of course, of course.
If there was anything else that you wanted to share with us, now is the time.
Oh, well, I think I said everything. I wanted to encourage everyone who's listening to never ever lose hope. Always value yourself. You deserve to heal, and it is safe for you to heal now. A lot of people, really, I think it's generational now. In our times, so everybody lives with some sort of symptom, whether it's mental illness, maybe mental issues or physical. There's always symptoms that we learn to live with, and that's not the way it should be. I think we can heal, and we must follow that intuition and say, I deserve to heal. I deserve to spend my money to heal myself because I matter. And that's what the world needs. If we are advocates for, I don't know, the homeless, and here we are sick and we have hardly any energy, and that's not it. Get yourself healthy first, physical, mental, emotional, like that. So that would be something I want to, as a mom, as a sister, as a healer, as an intuitive woman who's lived through many cultures, have immigrated. I mean, that's a lot to adjust and start up again. Seen a lot of work with women mainly. I work with gentlemen as well, but women, because we are such caretakers and nurturers, we tend to put ourselves, last. We spend our money and time and energy on, kids' orthodontics appointments or kids this and that class. But, the children are watching. The children are watching. How do you want your girls to grow up? How do you want your men to look at women? So those are very important for us to really unite and set an example for the rest of the women and people. And so that's my last thing I wanted to say. And I'm so grateful you asked me to be on your beautiful show. Honored to meet you.
Sarah, thank you so much for being here. Your story was so beautiful, and I'm really grateful for your presence here today.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you too.
Thank you. And for all listeners, I'll be leaving Sarah's information in the description box. Please make sure to share the story if it has helped you. This will help others as well. Thank you for listening, and I will see you on our next episode.